Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is Drew B. Wilson, founder of the Call the Dam Leads, best-selling author and sales systems expert, who has generated over $15 million in documented sales across multiple industries. After transforming his health, mindset, and business, Drew B built a movement around one powerful truth. Success is not luck, it is systems. Drew B, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bus, thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
So, Drew, before we kick things off, can you please tell us more about yourself?
I'll give you the too long didn't read version. If you guys do want to read it though, I have 6 books that I've written, so there's lots of long versions of the stories. But I grew up kind of a rascal kid, running the streets, selling anything and everything I could get my hands on. As I got older, met a pretty girl, got married, had a son, kind of realized I didn't want to end up dead or in prison, so I got into the more legitimate side of sales. I worked retail for a while. That led me to insurance. Insurance taught me that if I, was good at sales and could generate my own leads, I'd be able to write my own paycheck in life. So I started down the marketing path. And all of that to say, over the last decade or so, I've ended up creating Call the Damn Leads and working with thousands of sales professionals and entrepreneurs across the globe to really dial in the systems, the processes, and the daily routines that they need in order to live the life that they want to live.
Oh, wow, Drew, thanks so much for that submission. That's wonderful. And I'm really glad that you were able to find your footing in life after, being through all that, being like the kind of, I, I wouldn't say I used to be like that, but I wouldn't say I used to be like that per se, but close enough. I was just this kind of guy that, I was just all over the place, but as I got older, I started to, I think I should settle down and I really need to plan my life. Unless if I continue like this, it's not going to be funny. So I can really relate to that experience. And I'm so happy that you've been able to find your footing in life and found your calling and you're currently killing it, like you said. So you used to describe yourself as someone who's busy but broke. What was the real problem? And can you describe what that means?
Yeah, so busy but broke. A lot of times when I'm working with clients and I look back over my own experience in life, when I was in the season where it really felt like I was constantly working, but I never had enough money to do all the things that I wanted to do, right? I kind of felt broke. Um, I had this, it was right around the same time I kind of started into personal development and understanding what is my time worth? And ultimately, where am I spending it? Because if we recognize that time, energy, effort, they're finite resources, right? We don't
Yeah,
get extra time. We can't buy it. We don't win. We might get an energy drink, but we can't like just get unlimited energy. There's no cheat code for that in life. And,
yeah,
when you're in the moment, you can only give the amount of effort that you're giving right then. You can't go back to that moment and try harder, right? You can't go back to that
yes,
moment and do it differently. It is what it is once the situation has passed. And so when I think about life and how precious those three things really are, money becomes this object that we start to recognize as a tool or a resource. And there's always resources available if you know where to look, but time, energy, and effort you can't get more of no matter where you look. So for me in that season, when someone started asking me, hey, what is your time worth? If I wanted to hop on a call with you for an hour, how much would you charge me? It became a very humbling question because when I started doing the math and realizing, hey, my time might only be worth, I don't know, 25 or 30 bucks an hour after I get my base salary and my commission. I don't know, man. It's kind of a scary thing to think about. If death had its hood on and knocked on my door and was like, "Hey, Drewby, guess what? You've got 24 hours left to live. Here's 30 bucks in cash. I need you for an hour." I'm pretty sure I would have a lot of things to say that wouldn't be sure I'm coming with you, right? Like $30 would not
yes,
be enough value exchanged for a hour of the last 24 hours of my life. Like, there's no way I'd want to do
And
that.
the funny thing is, an hour might not even be enough to say all the things you want to say.
It wouldn't. Absolutely not. And so that to me is really where I started recognizing it. And I think what I try to encourage others to recognize in their own life is that if you want more out of life, your options are to spend more time doing the things that you want to do, or to increase your skill set enough to make enough money during that time so that you can afford to go and take the time to do the things that you want to do. Like, you either have to work harder or you have to work smarter. And, ultimately, I'm leaning towards work smarter if I can.
Thank you so much, Drew. And that's absolutely just the facts because you have to really do what you love so you can live the kind of life you want to live, as opposed to just living life on just because on someone else's terms, essentially. That's what you do when you work for somebody, you are employed in the company or something. You're living life on someone else's terms, and you're helping that individual or that person achieve their own mission and whatever they plan to do with their life. But when you live life, you can essentially do that and still be trying to live life on your own terms. But just living life just like that, just by working for someone or doing whatever the person wants you to do, that's just crazy. And like you said, the thought of so this is just how much my time is worth, and that's just crazy in of itself. So I can absolutely relate to what you just said. And why do you think? Okay, you said systems beat struggle. What was the first system? What is the first system every entrepreneur needs?
A calendar. It sounds very simple, but every entrepreneur needs to have a calendar that they live and breathe and die by. And the reason I say that, it kind of goes back to time and where you're spending it. If you aren't paying attention, if your day's not organized, if you're not structuring your calendar to give you every opportunity to succeed, that's the first place you should start.
Oh wow. That's actually good. I think that's something I don't and I have a calendar, but how do I put it? I don't follow it diligently. Now, when you say calendar, does it include like time of the day or just days like when I have a goal to achieve by the end of this month? Or do you mean that I wake up in the morning, I do this, in the afternoon, I do that, in the middle of the night? How do you mean when you say calendar, can you just like break it down a little bit more?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna show on the camera here quickly on my phone so you can see this is my Google Calendar. If you guys are listening, you can't see it, but it's basically a Tetris board and there's a lot of different colors on there and it's all over the place. But when I look at it, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing today. I know when I'm waking up. I know when I'm going to be at the gym. I know when I need to be there for my family. I know when I have client calls. I knew exactly when to be prepared for this conversation right now. And I know exactly when I'm probably going to be going to bed tonight. And I consistently use this calendar as a tool in the way that it keeps me organized and allows me to prioritize the things in life that I know will get me closer to my goals. And the issue is you have to create that boundary. You have to put these things in place and organize yourself first. Otherwise, everybody else is just going to come in and interrupt your day. They're going to be fine being like, hey, I need a minute. And when was the last time a minute ever actually a minute? It's always
Yeah.
that much longer. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's with your wife or your spouse, but that's a whole different side of the conversation. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
minute's a minute over there, but in the real world, in business, a minute is never a minute. And
Yes.
so this is why I think it's so important for people to understand that, like, if you can get the calendar organized and stay structured, what you put on the calendar becomes the priority during that time slot. And as long as you can be disciplined and not just be like, well, I said I was going to do it, but then I'm going to go do this other thing, then again, you're going to look up in 30 days and realize how much closer you are to the dream life that you keep talking about.
Oh wow. And the reason why I love this idea of this calendar, it gives you a kind of routine, a daily routine per se. And you almost, how do I put it? You can almost kind of predict what you're going to be doing 2 months, 3 weeks from now, which is just amazing. And another beautiful thing about the calendar is each month that passes by, each day that goes by, you can actually ascertain if it was productive or not. And definitely, there's no way you would put in your calendar that, okay, today I'm going to go smoke some weed by 9 p.m. Then by 10 a.m. I'm going to,
You might, I
so
mean,
I'm
you
going,
might like that, and that's the. Hold on a second. Like, we're gonna take a second here for this because I think there's something to that. Like,
yeah,
maybe you want to go and smoke a joint and paint a picture. Like, maybe that to you is your personal time. Okay, like I'm not here to judge you on that. I'm just here to say, like,
yeah,
if you really want that in life, you have to put it on the calendar. Because what most people fail to do is prioritize the things that are important to them. They put everybody else first, right? They grind themselves to
yes,
death at the business or the job, and then they have family or people in their life that they have to take care of and get to take care of. Not always have to, but like get to. But sometimes there's
yeah,
people in your life that you're doing things for that you feel obligated that like maybe you shouldn't.
yes,
And again, that's another conversation, but like this if you want to do these kinds of things, as long as it's getting you closer to your dream life and it's not hurting anyone, put it on the
exactly.
calendar. That's just
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true. So, why do you think most salespeople fail at doing the follow-up? I see that you have during my research towards this interview, I saw that you're involved in sales. So why do you think most salespeople fail with doing the follow-up?
I think there's a couple layers to it. Number one is they are just lazy, first and foremost. I think a lot of sales professionals are actually like order takers and they're just waiting for someone to say, "Hey, I need this thing. Will you take my money?" So I think there's a whole aspect of that that kind of plays in there. And then I think the other side of it is for the people that aren't lazy, I think their thing is they're just not confident, right? The biggest thing that I have found when talking to tens of thousands of sales professionals and entrepreneurs over the last 10 years is this. If you aren't excited to pick up the phone and call people and talk to them about your product or service, you're selling the wrong thing. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but if you aren't excited or like have this just core belief that what you do is truly a calling on earth to like provide and help the people that you're around, you might need to change the business that you're in because it sucks getting up every day and dreading doing the thing that you have to do and get to do to make money and to help other people. And I think
Yes.
that's like the weirdest part to me is like if you really cared, you would call because these people are asking for your help. Now, I typically only work inbound leads, right? I'm putting up an offer and saying, "Hey, if you need help with this, give me your information. I'll reach out and we'll help you." So, cold calling and having to reach out to people when you haven't built an authority or a network, yeah, that's not necessarily fun. But how else are you going to build a relationship? How else are you going to build a network if you aren't making the calls and introducing yourself to people? And during that time is where you really learn and understand how you can truly help others because you have to have the passion and the belief to pick up the phone and talk to other people and get a feel for what the heck they got going on and why they may or may not want to work with you on some things.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that submission. So I wanted to ask, now I know this is subjective, but what does elite daily execution actually look like you following your routine on your calendar? Actually look like for you following your routine on your calendar and in a general perspective.
For me, it's really knowing, hey, did I focus on all the things that matter today? Did I take care of me? Did I focus on my relationship with God? Did I focus on my family, my wife, my son, our doggos? Did I take care of my home? Did I make sure that I'm continuing to provide and honor the commitment that I made as a husband and father? Am I showing up in my community? Am I putting stuff out there to the world and the universe that lets, people know I'm here as a servant. I want to help. I have a mission. I care. And if you're in a place where I can help you, please let me know so that I can try everything I have available to do so. Like that's the way I like to operate. And if I go into every day with the mentality of, hey, I'm going to run the calendar the way it's laid out, these are the boxes I'm going to check to know that I've accomplished all of my goals for each day. Because if I just continue to do the things consistently that I know need to be done, eventually I'm going to look around and everything I want's going to be right there in front of me. but I just got to keep showing up every day, consistently
Yes.
doing those things, and then that's what an elite day looks like.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. And if that's how someone should operate daily, definitely they would be able to live the kind of life they want to and live a fulfilling life, essentially. So I wanted to ask this, given everything you've been through, growing up, being in the streets and all, to finally finding yourself where, you now have a family and you're contributing to society in a good way. How did you build up discipline to, go through all that process to the point where you are today?
Uh, I think the biggest thing for me from a discipline standpoint is, I mean, along the way, I've kind of had to figure things out. I've always had mentors and people that have poured into me, so I've always been like very lucky and blessed in that sense.
Oh wow.
And also, a lot of them have kind of given me the chance to learn in trial by fire. And what I mean by that is it's kind of like, all right, cool. Here's what we need to do. Here's the goal. Here's the thing we're trying to accomplish. I'm trusting you to help make this a reality. And here's a little bit of the resources and the things that we have, but like I'm gonna trust you to figure this out. And so I think that's been a big part of like my journey. And then from there, really just understanding that when it comes down to it, nobody else is gonna do the work for me. I had a mentor one time that he always said, like, you can't let another man be your safety net. And I always kind of found that interesting because it's like, he's right. At the end of the day, the only safety net we have is God. And we got to
Yes.
trust God's going to be there for us and take care of us. And as long as we show up and do what we're supposed to do, all the other stuff is just going to happen as it's going to happen. And so I think it's just really a discipline standpoint is understanding the commitment between you and God and saying, hey, I'm going to show up and do the things that you are telling me to do, and if I just keep doing them, I'm going to trust and have faith that this is going to work out the way it's supposed to.
You mentioned mentors. Now, I don't think it's everyone that have mentors. Definitely, they have people they might look up to. But when it comes to mentors, can you just give us a? Did you pick your mentors first off, and or did you just stumble like it just happened like coincidence? Or and also, if someone were to pick their mentors, what are the things they should look out for in a mentor?
Um, I'm a believer that you can be mentored by just about anybody. If you take the time to sit and have a conversation with someone and you take something powerful away from that conversation that you can use to change your life, like that person mentored you in a moment. And I think what's important to understand is that you don't have to have you don't have to do the same as one person. And what I mean by that is like if you just idolize one mentor and one person and do everything the same way that they do it, eventually you're not going to be you anymore. You're just going to be like a carbon copy of them. And there's no authenticity, and it makes it really hard to have alignment in that sense. And so, what I've learned over the years from a mentor standpoint is kind of going back to what are the things that matter to you most in your life? Is it your faith? Is it your fitness, your family, your finances? Like, what are those things that are important? That's usually what most people have, right? Faith, family, fitness, finances. It's kind of like the four
Yes,
F's. It's pretty common.
yes,
Um,
actually.
and so if you think about it, it's like, okay, well, who do you know in your life that is really strong in their faith? Model them. But here's the thing, just because they're strong in their faith doesn't necessarily mean that their family is great. It doesn't necessarily mean that their
Oh,
finances are all in order, right? So, like, you may not want to do everything that they do, but it's okay to have, like, all right, I like the way this person has a really deep faith, and I can appreciate that. So I'm going to take some of that and be mentored by that. However, this other guy who's like really successful financially, he has no faith. He's very cut and dry, but like he's very smart and he gets his business done. And so maybe I want to take a little bit of learning from him and bring that back to my life and knowing that faith is a big part of it. So like how can I learn the business side in order to make money and contribute back to the kingdom? And maybe The business guy, his family hates him because he's never around. And like, but he's got money. So you're like, maybe he's really fit and put together, right? Maybe he's super strong, and you're just like, dang, this dude is like, he's making money, he's strong, but his family hates him and he's got no faith. So it's like, I don't necessarily want to be that either. And so I think
Yes.
that when you're looking at a mentor, have multiple mentors. Like, take a little bit of what you like from this person, take a little bit of what you like from this person, and let you create your own reality. Let you create your own version of what success actually is, because it'll feel so much better in that way.
Oh, well, I love that method that this method you just explained of, looking for mentors or sorting for mentors. It's actually a very effective one. Just essentially emulate that particular thing about that person that you admire, just that particular thing, and just do that across all the people you admire, essentially. And that's how you get mentors. Then, if you're opportune to have direct contact with them where they can talk to you about how they got maybe successful in business or how they're able to build their faith to that extent, like you explained. And that's just actually a very nice way to go about it. I'm actually going to implement that method. So, across all the industries you've worked in or you've sold in, what principles never change?
What principles never change? You have to call the damn leads. I think that's kind of a cliche thing, but that's number one, right? You have to talk to people and have conversations and build relationships if you want to sell anything. I
Yes.
think service-based sales has always been what's worked really well for me. And what I mean by that is genuinely caring about, can I help this person get the result that they're looking for? And if so, am I doing everything in my power to try to do that? If I'm going that path and I've done everything I can, then I feel pretty dang good about it. Because ultimately, I know that I don't need to sell everyone who has a credit card and a pulse. I don't like being hard sold into things myself. I don't want someone to guilt me or shame me and try to make me feel bad because I don't want to spend money on something that I haven't considered a priority at this time. And so that's just the way that I like to operate. And it didn't matter what industry, who I was working with, young, old, technical savvy, blue collar hand, builders. Like, man, if you just have good service first, the sales becomes a lot easier.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So you mentioned during the beginning of our interview, you mentioned that systems, you explained to us how systems beat struggle. Now, you can give us now, if you were to help someone to build a system around their routine or around their life to help them, be successful, how would you go about it? And have you ever helped someone, have you helped anyone to build a system before that they are currently using today that has made them successful?
Yes, I've helped hundreds of clients build better systems and processes over the years. I won't take too much credit other than helping give them a blueprint and maybe a little bit of a guidance along the way, but they did the work, which is what's making them successful. And I think that's important to remember, especially for the listener right now, is, Bless and we could give you every blueprint, every recipe, every secret sauce, playbook, marketing tactic, every script, everything out there that we possibly could, and it wouldn't matter if you didn't take action with that information, if you didn't do something with that knowledge. And so I just encourage you to remember that no matter where you are in your journey, if you want to see a result, it starts by taking action on the information that you have at hand. And so I think that for me has always been kind of the key is educate, but then execute as soon as possible.
Okay, wow, that's so wonderful. Thanks so much for that submission. So I have a set of rapid fire questions that I
Okay.
want to ask. But before then, there's a question I need to ask you. So what is one daily habit that you think can increase the revenue of a business?
One daily habit that can increase the revenue of a business. All right, let's just keep this simple. Track your numbers every day. Track your numbers. Most people aren't doing
Oh,
that, which is why their revenue is unpredictable. But it's a pretty clear correlation of output to input. And so, what we always tell people is, hey, how many calls did you make yesterday? How many people did you talk to? Of those people that you talked to, did anyone seem interested in working together that we can put into the pipeline for follow-up? Start there. And then every day, look at your pipeline and say, hey, who's in here that we've talked to that seems like they'd be a good fit but hasn't signed up yet that we need to follow up and have an additional conversation with? Just start there. And then, interestingly enough, if you do that every day for the next 30 to 60 days, you're going to call me and be like, Drewby, I did the thing and it made me a lot of money. Now what? And you're welcome.
And the beautiful thing about what you just explained is you'll be able to find the loopholes in how you run your business, and probably if money is leaking out somewhere, or money is just going somewhere it shouldn't go to. And that's also something you could also track. So now down to rapid fire questions. So cold calls or DMs,
Cold calls,
okay? CRM or spreadsheets.
CRM all day.
Honestly, I would just be honest and just say I don't even know what CRM is. Can you explain and just give us an idea?
CRM is a customer relationship manager. So it's essentially where you put everyone's information that you may or may not work with to keep it organized. So,
Oh,
when you sign up on a form on our website, your name, phone number, email address, it goes into the CRM system, and then that's how we stay organized and continue to build the relationship with you over time.
oh wow. To think of it, a CRM would actually be much more preferable because a spreadsheet with something you'd use in a lab, for example. You can't use spreadsheets with actual human beings, so it wouldn't make any sense. So, okay, morning or evening productivity, which one works for you?
I'm a morning person. I want to get up and get after it.
Yes, same thing here. Biggest sales excuse.
Biggest sales excuse. I don't know what to say.
Like you don't know what to say. Oh, that's the answer.
That's the excuse that they use, right? Like the biggest excuse I hear
Uh,
from sales professionals is, "Oh, I don't know what to say when I call."
oh wow. How are you in sales if you don't know what to say? That's just crazy.
I mean, we ask ourselves this question all the time, but hey,
Yeah,
people are people. They will get in their own way every chance that they get. So this is why we
yeah,
exist, is to help them get out of their own way.
yeah. So the last one is, what is one non-negotiable daily action for you?
Read and pray every day.
Yes, yes, I agree with that, definitely. Especially the praying part, because man, the world is so random, the world is so unpredictable. So you just have to, have that extra protection, that extra guidance. So this is
Amen.
my final question before I round up for the interview. Um, If someone is listening right now and they feel inconsistent in their income, what is the three-step reset they can apply this week to build a predictable revenue? I
All
think
right,
you've
three
described it.
steps.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I can give
Mhm.
you three steps, so we'll simplify it. Number one, figure out what your time is worth. So take all the money that you made last year as a whole, main job, side job, maybe you're selling pictures of your feet on OnlyFans or something, like whatever. I'm not
Oof.
judging, I'm just saying. If you are, all that money together and divide it by 2,000. That's going to give you your current hourly rate. And the reason is because if you work 9 to 5, that's 40 hours a week. You take a 2 week vacation every year, you work about
Okay.
2,000 hours a year. So
Okay. Okay.
figure out what your hour, worth is. And then over the next 7 days, I want you to do a time study. And every hour on the hour, you're going to stop and write down everything that you just did for the last hour. And I'm talking in detail. I went to the bathroom. I brushed my teeth. I scrolled social media. I sent an email. I made a phone call. I scratched my booty. I took the dog
Mhm.
outside, right? I made myself a
Yeah.
snack. Like all the little things, these little things that take a little bit of time, a minute here, a couple minutes there. Start paying attention. And then at the end of that week, if you make it to a week, most people don't, but if you do, at the end of that week,
Yeah.
your goal is to go through and look at all of those things and start measuring, was this productive, yes or no? Because at the end of looking at everything and deciding was it productive or not, you're going to realize you're doing a lot of not productive stuff every
Yes.
single day. And so when you eliminate all the stuff that you're doing that's not productive, or as much of it as possible, because some of it you can't eliminate right away, but if you can, this is the way I always look at it. What can you automate? What can you delegate? What can you eliminate off of that list?
Oh wow.
That's your three steps. Figure out what your time is worth, track where it's going, figure out what you can automate, delegate, or eliminate from that list.
And honestly, I have to say this routine you just mentioned requires a lot of willpower. I think most people don't have that. I'm going to be honest because, like you said, some people don't get to a week. Do you know what it means to be writing down literally every single thing you've done in a day, except you're doing it in the moment? If you have to wait to the end of the day, now it has to be something you need to actively actually do this. And of course, definitely for you to pick up this three-step method and actually want to implement it, you know that you want to really change your life for the better. You really want to, move forwards with whatever goal or plans you have. And I really love that. I love the fact that it requires intention. You need to be intentional about it, honestly, for you to actually see results. And that's just wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Drew. It's really been a pleasure to have you. It's been an inspiring and exciting conversation. So where
Thank you
can
for
my
having me,
listeners
Blessed.
it's a pleasure. Where can my audience, learn more about your work and possibly connect with you?
Number one thing they could do, share this episode on social media and tag at Call the Damn Leads. That's going to tell me you spent a little bit of time here, that you got some value out of what I had to say. It's also going to help Bless grow his show, and he gave me the platform to share today. So I'm truly honored for
Thank
a
you.
little bit of his time and energy. So share this episode on social media, tag at Call the Damn Leads. And then if you want to check out more of what we do, we have a podcast, we have books, training, all sorts of stuff for sales professionals and entrepreneurs over at callthedamnleads.com.
Thank you so much, Drew. It's been a pleasure to have you. Drew B. Drew is still good, right?
Yeah, Drew, Drewby, whatever you call me, as long as it's not Andy, we're good.
All right. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thanks so much for coming on my podcast and, sharing your insights and sharing your expertise. Do have a wonderful day and take care of yourself.
You too, Bless. Take care.
All right. Thank you.